Okay, this is a tutorial in Autodesk Inventor on how to create an assembly. I've went ahead and created just three simple parts. I did a box with a hole through it. I created a peg, and I also created just a small corner piece. And I'm going to show you how to assemble these three pieces together. To create an assembly, you need to go to your eye. We're going to go to New, and if you click on New, you'll see there's an assembly, I guess, box or tab, and you've got mold design, standard, IAM, and weldment. We're going to do standard. That's what we're going to stick with. So we hit standard and then hit create, and it'll take it a second to load up. Once we get here, it's just looks like our sketch planes. Up in the left hand corner where we normally have create a sketch, there's a box or an option that says place. And if you click the drop down menu, you'll see place, place from content center, and place iLogic components. Parts that you drew are going to be in the place. You're just going to click place, and it'll open up and you'll be able to go and find the files that you've created. So I'm going to open up my box with a hole, and you find it and then just hit open. It says I've saved this in a different place than a project, so it's no big deal, but go ahead and hit OK. And you'll notice it puts it in. Now I could put in multiple copies of this just by clicking on the screen. Alright, and then all you gotta do is hit right click and hit OK. Now I don't want 4 copies of this, so I'm going to go in and just right click on these and delete them. You'll notice in your task menu over here that the box with the hole that you put in first has what looks like a stick pin on it. This means that this is basically grounded. It cannot move. I'm clicking on it and trying to move it around. It won't. I can't drag it around the screen. Now I can use my tools and I can rotate it and do that, but as far as moving it from its position, it stays where it's at. Now to put in a second part, I'm going to go into here and click place again, go back to where I've saved my parts, and now I'm going to insert my corner piece, and it's walking me through because I've saved, like I said, I saved these in a different place. I'm going to right click and place that and then hit OK. Alright, now you'll see we've got our box here and we've got our corner piece, but we need to get these to where they are assembled. They're one part. And we do that by using constraints. Alright, so up here where it says position, we're going to click on constrain, and then it gives us all sorts of different options. We've got mate, we've got angle, we've got tangent, and we've got insert. For this particular one, we're going to use mate. So we click mate, and then under solution, it tells us we have a mate and we have a flush. We'll use flush in just a minute, but right now we're going to stick with mate. And it tells us we need to make our first selection and our second selection. Alright, so I'm going to select this face here, and I'm going to tell it that I want it to be stuck as my second face to right here. And you may hear that little click, that kind of a pop sound. That means it's assembled. You can hit apply. Now if you look at it, you'll notice this is a little bit offset. The corner piece that we just put in there is not completely even with that box with the hole. This is where flush comes in. So we're going to go back in. It keeps our window up. We're going to hit the place constraint again. This time, instead of using mate, we're going to use flush. And now for our first face, we'll click our corner piece, and then we'll click the top of our box with a hole and then hit apply, and now you'll see that they are in fact assembled together. And if you rotate it around, you can see that they are flush. Now you'll still see a little bit of a seam, but that's because it's two separate parts, but you'll see that those are assembled together. Now I want to go ahead and put my peg in, so I'm going to hit place, go and find my part again. It's going to give me those warnings again. Alright, open, OK, yes. Now if you've saved these, if you've created a project and you've saved these in your project file where you've done your project, you won't have that same warning pop up, so that's a good reason to create a project. Now I've got my peg in. Obviously this peg needs to go through this hole. So I'm going to hit constrain again. Now for this, we can't use mate. Mate will not allow us to do a circle, the side of a circle to a hole. Tangent in some cases will work, but most of the time is not the best option. What we're going to use is insert, and it's just like it sounds. It's going to insert this into this peg into this hole. Now the face, when it says 1 and 2 right here, first selection, second selection, it's important to select the right part of the peg. Now for us, we want our the bottom of our lid, or the bottom of our peg here, to be against the top of our box. So I'm going to select the smallest part of my peg that is closest to the head of the peg. Alright, so I'm going to click that, and then for my second selection, I'm going to select this hole, the top of it, and you'll hear that little click, and you notice it's inserted there, and you can hit apply, and you can look around. Now let's say that I've inserted that peg, but I don't want it all the way in. It's went flush. I've messed up. I don't want it all the way in there. I can go down to peg. I can select it. Oops. I can select where I inserted it, and you'll notice down here it gives me a dimension, and so I can put in an offset. So I'm going to put in an offset of 0.25. And you'll notice when you hit enter, it raises that out 0.25, and you can change it 0.125, and it moves it in. And so you can do the same too with the corner piece. Where you mated it, you could change it to a 0.125 offset, and you'll see there's a space that goes in between it. But we want to leave that one the way it is, so we'll hit Control Z and go back to it. But that is how you create an assembly in Autodesk Inventor. You just basically keep inserting your parts using place, and then keep assembling them using constraints. Either mate, flush, tangent, all those are used at different points, but the most common ones are mate, flush, and insert.